What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another interview edition of Learn Crypto. Today we have a very special guest. He's the Bitcoin buying, the Ethereum Classic mining, the Docademic shilling, Bitfi wallet backing, and poison surviving, John McAfee. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm having fun as usual.
There you go, living the dream. So we're going to talk about the Bitfi wallet a little bit, the Cloak phone, as well as kind of your perception of what's going on in the crypto market right now. So you guys don't want to miss a single minute of this interview. And while you're at it, make sure to smash that like, share, and subscribe button. So I guess to start, John, the most debated topic right now in cryptocurrencies is your unhackable Bitfi wallet. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And is it true that there's still a $250,000 bounty to anybody that can steal coins from one of your Bitfi wallets?
Absolutely. And no one will ever take that money. There are hundreds of people who said, I have hacked the wallet, okay? Someone has gone through and modified it to play a video. Well, all you've done is make a video player out of it. You did not get any coins. Someone said, I gained root access. Well, who cares? There's no memory on the device. Root access to a device with no memory is like having, all the condoms in the world, but nobody to fuck. So it's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. So all of these hacks are just total garbage, and they're angry because no one can get the money. See, what does the user care about? What does the user think hacking means? It means you've hacked my coins. Mm-hmm. Somebody hacked my wallet and took my coins. Well, no one can do that. Now, let me tell you why. What we have done is something totally unique. We have used the blockchain for what the blockchain was intended for. It is a distributed, immutable ledger. Immutable meaning unchangeable. We have used the blockchain as our memory, okay? Why should we have memory which duplicates the blockchain, where we can get into the blockchain with a set of keys and have everything since the inception of that wallet? Immutable, unchangeable. So we have no memory anywhere. We don't use it. The blockchain is our memory. The real memory is the passphrase in the user's mind. So people go, well, there's no memory on the wallet, so there's no money on the wallet. Well, duh. There's no money anywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, even on the blockchain, is the money there? Well, no, it's there only once the passphrase is converted to seed keys and the wallet then emerges. So the blockchain is a unique concept. I mean, it has changed everything. People are using it to, the blockchain in conjunction with smart contracts to solve the supply chain problem, one of the greatest problems in all of industry. Walmart, if it sells a sofa, well, they own that entire process. So it starts in Indonesia with someone cutting down the trees and someone weaving the fibers. Then, good Lord, it's a horrible, horrible system where everybody's cheating everybody. Well, with the blockchain, you can't do that anymore. Everybody in the process is seeing where everything is. And if you said, well, no one delivered my supplies yet, the guy, well, nonsense. We all saw you take the delivery. So, and so why not apply it to security? Because seriously, what does it mean to have no memory? It means there's nothing to hack. If you hack something, you're hacking data. Are you not?
Yes.
If you steal data from the Office of Personnel Management, like someone did 2 years ago and took every single record of every employee of the U.S. government for the past 50 years, you took data.
So I guess the differentiating factor between the Bitfi wallet and like the Ledger Nano S or the Trezor is the fact that you are creating the passphrase and stored in your memory versus Ledger's giving you that passphrase on paper that might be
Yes.
Along the line.
Well, listen, I can't possibly memorize 12 random words for more than a few weeks. I mean, and most people are the same. But if I get to create my own passphrase and I say, well, it's my social security number, plus the name of my first girlfriend spelled backwards, okay? And the name of the hotel where we first had sex. I mean, please, God, can you forget that? No, you can't. So there is the difference. So we're basically making it easy for the user not to forget. We're not forcing him to memorize, because if you're forced to memorize, you will forget, I promise you. Yeah. Can you remember all the stuff that you memorized in the 5th grade about history? No, nobody can. but you can't forget the important things that happen to you in your life. So people say, we've hacked it. Well, no, you haven't. If you can't get the money, there is no hack.
Yeah,
No one can get the money. People go, well, I rooted it, or I turned it into a video player. Well, good for you. But did you get the money? Imagine someone going, hey, I hacked the Bitfi wallet. Yeah, how much did you get? Well, I didn't get anything, but I turned it into a video player. Please God, is that a hack? No. So it's tragic. It's tragic.
All I care about is that my
get the money. We'll give you the $250,000. You can't get the money.
That's awesome. Yeah, all I care about is that the money's still there. That's it. All I care about is that my Bitcoin's still there when I go to use it. Other than that, I don't care what they do with the.
Who cares, right? You can't get the money. Well, have at it. Enjoy. Get root access to a meaningless system that you can't do anything with.
And talking about projects you're working on, I know another project you're backing is the Cloak cell phone, which is aiming to be the ultimate private cell phone. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on with that?
Yeah, and listen, it's going to sound very simplistic, but here's the problem with smartphones. Software engineers got so clever that they started developing soft switches for things like turn on the Wi-Fi, turn on the Bluetooth, power off the telephone. So since it's software controlled, then it's hackable, right? Mm-hmm. You can get in and say, okay, turn on the Bluetooth. Yeah, I'm going to pretend to turn off Wi-Fi. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I've turned it off, and that little symbol at the very top of the phone is going to disappear, but it's still on, and I'm still watching. I'm going to pretend to turn off the camera. I'm going to pretend to turn off the microphone. That's very trivial. So what happened is when the smart switches came in, hackers went crazy. Great, I can do anything I want and delude you. Mm-hmm. So what I have done, and I designed this phone while I was at MGT, have created air-gapped switches that you press a little button for something, and there's a switch that actually has an air gap. You cannot take an electron and make it jump across this gap. So if you turn off your camera, the camera is off. You don't have to do like Comey did, the head of the FBI, and take a sticker and put it over your camera, for heaven's sake. How tragic is that?
I know, that's terrible.
With the air-gapped phone, if you turn the camera off, the camera is off. There's no way to access because you have to jump an air gap. So it's a simple concept, and it sounds like you're going backwards. Well, you're going backwards to the age of light switches where it's on or off rather than software. But it's the software control of these functions that create all of the risk factors for hacking. So those are among the things we've done. We also have detectors for stingrays. Do you know what a stingray is?
Yep.
Okay, those are devices that every law enforcement agency in the country has, built by Harris Corporation, that pretend to be a cell tower. It's a false cell tower. So they park near your house. That signal is much stronger than any other cell tower, so your phone connects to them. They then control you. They can push down software updates. They can do whatever they want. A huge risk. Now, unfortunately, these are not just in the hands of law enforcement anymore. You can go onto the dark web and buy a kit for $5,000 and build one. So hackers have them. Criminals have them. It's a horrible risk. So we have a stingray detector in there that says, no, I'm not connecting up to you. I don't care how close you are because you weren't here yesterday. We have a map of where all the cell towers are, and one just popped up. No, I don't think so. So we don't connect to it.
That's really interesting.
Pardon?
That's like saying that's really interesting. And, the HTC partnered up with Litecoin and Charlie Lee. They're making a cell phone, and Siren Labs raised like $150 million in ICO and partnered up with Charles Hoskinson from ADA, really focusing on integrating cryptocurrencies with the security of a hardware wallet, but the ease of use of a credit card. Is the Cloak phone only focusing on privacy, or are you working to integrate cryptocurrencies into that phone as well?
Obviously, we're integrating cryptocurrencies into it, the whole thing. And it will, again, be a much more secure wallet than any other phone that we're using software switches. And we're disconnecting from Wi-Fi or from Bluetooth or so on. No, we're actually physically disconnecting. So it's going to be a major change and a major innovation.
Is there currently cellular, like telecommunication companies that are going to be supporting that cell phone? Like if I have AT&T, am I going to be able to put it on my network?
We're negotiating with all of them. Verizon, AT&T, and so on. Because obviously, if they don't support us, then we're in trouble. So no, we're negotiating with all, and all of them are very interested in what we're doing.
Perfect. So looks like two products out there. I know that there's a lot of debate on those and bickering back and forth, but I mean, from what you tell me, and the more and more I dig into it, it seems like it's pretty simplistic, and I think people just troll for the need to troll, and we'll see what happens.
Well, here's the thing. In my experience, the simplest approach is usually the best. Seriously. Especially in software engineering, I've seen software engineers who will design the most sophisticated software without the necessity of doing so. I mean, for example, in the Bitfi wallet, how much more simple can you get than to use the ledger, the blockchain, for what it was intended? If we use it for what it's intended, we don't need memory. We don't need to store anything. It's already stored there. That's a very simple approach. With the Cloak phone, let's take a step backwards. And instead of being sophisticated enough to have a software switch that will turn the Wi-Fi off, well, you can also use that software switch to turn the Wi-Fi on if you're a hacker. No, let's take a step backwards and physically disconnect them with an air gap. Physically, in the hardware, you're not connected anymore. That's what we need to do.
Get privacy back to the users, put you back in control. So what's your opinion on the current bearish market conditions of Bitcoin and the whole cryptocurrency space? And is your $1 million Bitcoin prediction for 2020 still in play?
Absolutely. Let's look at the logic of our situation. Bitcoin, 21 million coins, max. Now, I was once one of the world's largest miners when I was with MGT. 5,000 S9s running nonstop, mining Bitcoin. It's a very lucrative business, but it's also the most boring business on the planet. Nothing is more boring than mining because there's nothing to it. You've got a difficulty rate, you've got a hash rate, run the numbers, and that's all you have. How dull is that? Nevertheless, I know a lot about this. So 21 million coins, 4 million of which are lost forever. We're now down to 17 million coins. And what's happening with Bitcoin? Are the number of people accepting it shrinking? No, it's exploding. Now, please God, run the numbers. I mean, if in fact the number of people who are accepting Bitcoin and the number of people who are paying by Bitcoin and the number of Bitcoin miners is increasing, how on earth can it not reach $1 million in 2.5 years? It has to. It just has to. So no, I'm very solid on that bet. See, everything in life is long term. Do you think people make money by looking at short term events? And yeah, you might make 10 or 20, even 100% sometimes, but you're not going to get filthy rich. Who gets rich? The people who looked at Google back in 1990 and said, "Wow, this is amazing." And it didn't matter that for 10 years, Google lost money. It looked like the worst loser since the inception of business. But what happened? It became Google. And so that's a long-term play, looking at something and saying, well, this has to win in the end. Yeah. That's a long-term thing. It requires looking at something and analyzing it, seeing how it fits into the market, and where is it going?
Yeah, and talking about Google, we just saw that Apple got a valuation of over $1 trillion, which really puts
and Apple made no money for 10 years, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, and it puts in perspective how small this whole cryptocurrency economy really is. Yes. We're 25% of that Bitcoin plus all the other cryptocurrencies currently.
Yeah, but if you look at cryptocurrency, it has to succeed. Think of the ease of use. If I want to do the equivalent of a wire transfer to someone in France or Japan, how long does it take me? How long? I'll bring in my wallet to get their wallet ID. I hit send, done. If I want to do the same thing using the existing system, I have to get out of bed, drive to the bank, fill out some forms, get back in my car and drive home, and it takes 2 days. Please, do you see the ease of use? It has to succeed. It has to replace that function. I mean, we're just human beings. We're giving you the choice. Do you want to do it this way or this way? And this way takes 30 seconds, and this takes half of a morning. Which one do you take? Obviously, the superior one. And cryptocurrency is superior in every respect. So, of course, it's going to take over.
And we're starting to see the institutional infrastructure being built as well. You know, New York Stock Exchange yesterday just released that they partnered up with Microsoft and Starbucks to try to create some exchange where they're going to bring Bitcoin to people's 401k. And hopefully we get a Bitcoin ETF. And I think mass adoption and utilization of these networks is going to continue to grow. And the utilization of a network usually drives price appreciation of that network. So I think it's a no-brainer to me. And that's why I'm here doing this every day. I'm really trying to show people what cryptocurrencies are and what they can really do.
Of course. Of course.
I think, and if that happened, if your $1 million Bitcoin happened by 2020, that would really help your pro-crypto campaign for the presidency of 2020 for the United States, right? You still doing that?
Keep in mind, there are 3,000 currencies out there. Bitcoin is not the only one. Although it's 40-some% of the market cap, that will change as more and more. For example, I think here's one of the problems with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the non-privacy coins. If I send money to somebody or receive money, they have my wallet ID, do they not? Anybody can go in and see how much money I've got in that wallet and how much I'm sending and when. That is, to me, unacceptable. I'm sorry. I don't want someone to look at my bank. If I write somebody a check and they go, oh, let me see how much money you have. Mm-hmm. They cannot. But with Bitcoin, yes. With Ethereum, yes. With Monero, absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not. There's nothing in Monero that gives anything away about me, who I am, what's in my account, or even what that transfer was. I mean, it's all coded and broken up into pieces and segments. Yes. So privacy coins, I think, are going to be the future. They have to be the future, unless you do not care when someone knows exactly how much money is in your wallet at any point in time, and they can keep checking it every day. That's unacceptable. It really is. And that was not thought through properly when Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other similars were first created. With Monero and other privacy coins, that goes away. Yeah, so you can, again, if you want to think long-term, please God, eventually everybody's going to figure out, you know what, with Ethereum, everybody knows how much money I've got. That's not acceptable. And the privacy coins, will have their day.
I think more and more people are really starting to realize that Bitcoin and Ethereum are pseudo-anonymous, meaning, yes, it is a string of numbers and letters, but it can still be traced. And I've been preaching that I think the privacy sector is going to be a large growing sector, and Monero right now is really the only truly private currency. Obviously, some are starting to come into the space, and we got to keep our eyes on that. I think Monero has a good head start, and the technology's there. It's not as easy to use in Bitcoin in some situations, but definitely secures how much wealth you really have.
But the pseudo-anonymous aspect, as you call it, pseudo-anonymous of Bitcoin and Ethereum, ends as soon as you make the first purchase and you're calling and say, hi, I want you to ship it to John McAfee, okay? Whatever it is you're buying. They go, okay, thanks, and here's my wallet. That's the end of your anonymity, okay? So now they don't say, well, let me see how much money you have, Mr. McAfee.
There you go. So I guess we got to get to this. What are the 3 crypto projects that you think people need to take a look at or add to their portfolio, and why? Maybe just a brief reason why.
Let me put a caveat here. I'm not recommending these to buy. I get trashed all the time. I mean, my followers kept insisting, well, give us something in the short term. I go, it's not possible. Give us something. I said, okay, here's something. And I put a paragraph in, and with a caveat, short-term predictions are frequently meaningless. Please God. So these are meaningless. But here they are. And so people are not trashing me because it didn't come true. Well, it's short-term. How can any short-term philosophy come true? But if you look at something like we've been talking about privacy coins, and you see the absolute certainty of everybody figuring it out, going, gee, I don't want people knowing how much money I have, privacy coins will win the day. That's when is it going to happen? Not this month, not next, maybe not next year, but certainly within the next 3 or 4 years, absolutely. So I can count on that. I can count on that. So what would I look at? Okay, Bitcoin, number one, it's never going away. It's the grandfather. It's going to be the gold standard, okay? Now, what do people do with gold? They store it in boxes. They don't eat it, build houses out of it, but it's the standard. Bitcoin will always be a standard. It's almost half of the market cap. So you can count on Bitcoin, whether or not we use it, whether or not it even becomes a real currency, it will be the store of value. So you can count on that. Ethereum, why? Good Lord, look at all the coins based on the Ethereum smart contracts and the Ethereum platform. Please God, what, are all those coins going to go away? Over 1,000 coins? Please, they're not. So Ethereum is not going to go away. I don't care what Buddha says, okay? It is not going away. As to the rest, pick a decent privacy coin, because you know that privacy coins will win the day. Just work it through in your head. As soon as people realize, okay, so if I use Bitcoin, then people are going to look at my wallet whenever they want and see what's in there and see what I've been. They won't know what I bought. They can see I transferred this out, that this came in. The IRS is going to be happy about that, right? But you're not going to be.
Yep.
So obviously, think it through in the long term. Maybe not this month, next month, or whatever, but within 3 or 4 years, privacy coins will win the day. So pick a good one and invest in it.
That's awesome. Thanks for your insight there, and I appreciate that. I really like Monero, like I said, and then I've been looking at one called Zencash because they partnered up with Charles Hoskinson, and they're working on a real governance system and utilization of that.
A whole bunch of them, Bitcoin private, although people are trashing that, but still, okay, why not?
And you're about to have another Z Classic fork with Bitcoin Anonymous or whatever they're creating there. So I just think that's going to be a strong sector moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, just use your head. Try to project into the future. What is the future going to be? Based on your own feeling, what do you want? What would you like to see in the future? Well, if you would like to see it, so would everybody, please. And then go with that. And who cares where in the short term it drops by 90%? Why do you care? We're talking about long term. In the long term, it has to win, right? So do you think that people cared that Google's stock dropped in the first couple of years to some almost insignificant number? Who cared? Google had to win. It's going to be the information source of the world. Of course it's going to win. So people hung on. And those who hung on for 10 years made hundreds of millions of dollars on just a few $1,000 investment. So that's how you make money. Yeah. That's how you get super rich, not by day trading, not by short-term investing, because that's nonsense, but by thinking it through. What has to happen in the future? You don't know when, but you know it has to happen. Well, invest in that.
Yeah, that's some really good insight and really opposes those who are always like, oh, this is another .com bubble. And when they say that to me, I'm like, well, look what came out of the .com bubble: Apple, Microsoft, Google, Netflix, and on and on. We're looking at winners right now. You just got to find the right ones.
You have to find the right ones and use your head. What facilities exist today that you know in the future you're going to want? And I promise you, you're going to want privacy coins. I know it, unless you just don't care. Well, I don't care how much people know how much I have. That's fine. Then do as you wish.
I just think that's unrealistic that people aren't going to be like, hey, I don't want people to know how much money I have, especially the wealthy. They don't want to become targets, etc. So shielding that information is very important. So I guess we covered a lot of topics there and we had some fun. Is there any last things you want to mention or reiterate before we sum up this interview?
I'd like to bring attention to the fact that we have been misapplying the blockchain and we've been misapplying the crypto tokens. Why? Because many of them have an intended purpose. And that purpose, if we used it properly, is to enhance our lives. Things like Docademic, free medical care, or virtually free. Great. That's one of the few where the token is actually used rather than traded. I'm going to make money off of this. We have perverted the potential of the blockchain into greed. Let's make money off of this good idea rather than, why don't we use these tokens? Outings. Outings was the most fantastic concept. It was an entertainment token and an application for, let's say I want to go on an outing, take my family out on a weekend. And let's say I like street musicians. Well, I'm in LA and they're all over the place, but randomly finding one is kind of difficult. So people who do want to find say, there's a street musician here. So they input it into their app. And you're going out saying, I want to see street musicians. So you have these 30 possibilities. Everybody going, I know where they are, and I'll sell it to you for 3 outings. Maybe that's 75 cents. Who knows? Great. What a great idea. Instead of randomly trying to find one, I know exactly where they are. this one's the closest. Let's go here. Terrific idea. Or you're in a high-class bar and Tom Cruise is there. And people want to be in a place where there are celebrities. Okay, so hey, I'm in a bar where Tom Cruise is. I'll tell you which bar it is for 100 outings. You know, maybe it's going to be $100. Who knows? This is what it's intended for. Are we using it for that? No. What did they do with the outings token? They traded it, and it kind of tanked. Why? Because no one's fucking using the token for what it was intended for. The app is there. Please God, let's get off of this greed trip of, yeah, we're going to get filthy rich off of cryptocurrencies and get back to the intended reason, which is to make our lives better, to provide facilities and functions that improve my life, the life of my children, and the lives of my grandchildren. That's what this is about. So let's get off of this greed trip. I'm not saying don't make money. Please, God, yes. Okay, go ahead and do so. But please, can somebody, somewhere, take these tokens and start using them? You bought a whole bunch, well, grab some and spend them for what they were intended for. Please, God, let's do this.
I appreciate you taking the time to be here with me. Thanks to everybody watching. Don't forget to smash that like, share, and subscribe button. And until next time, stay tuned for your daily updates on cryptocurrencies right here on Learn Crypto.
All right. Thank you, sir.